You know, all this week on 7 Action News, we've been bringing you inspirational stories as part of our series on organ donation.
And you may not know it, but the issue hits close to home here at Broadcast House. Keenan's youngest son, Clarke, wouldn't be here today with the liver transplant, without that liver transplant that he received just a couple months ago.
That's right. It's really an incredible story of the gift of life. And this morning, Keenan's here to share his family's life-changing experience with this. First of all, how is Clarke doing?
Clarke is doing very, very well now. He had the transplant about 3 months ago. It was in January. He was 6 months when he went into the hospital, and now he's about 10 months old. He's doing very well.
We're so grateful.
When a parent has to go through something like this, you and your wife, I mean, do you have those moments where you're wondering, oh my gosh, is our beautiful son gonna get the transplant that he needs?
And that's one of the hardest parts of it. It's one thing to deal with the sickness and the illness. That's hard enough. But when the decision is made that he does need the transplant, waiting on the list is really, really difficult. You don't know when you're going to get the call. You're waiting for the call. That's a look at Clarke, and that's Clarke before he went into the hospital. He has what's called ascites. That's what you get when your liver begins to break down. His stomach was distended. He was really uncomfortable. And as a parent, there's nothing you can do to make your child feel any better. At one point when he was in the hospital, they did tap it and take some of that fluid out, but it comes back. And he needed the transplant to get better. There was no way he was going to get better without the transplant. They tried to manage it beforehand. Great doctors at U of M and his pediatrician at Birmingham Pediatrics did a great job in following up, but he needed the liver.
You became really almost an expert on the liver. I know we would talk about this during the process, and I'd be amazed at everything that you were taking in and absorbing. And there is a pretty great need. The list was pretty long.
There's a long list, and the list is done by need. So it doesn't matter how long you've been on the list. It really, what's important is how badly you need that liver. And Clarke, they use something called an end-stage liver disease. For kids, it's called PELD, pediatric end-stage liver disease. And his score was at 34, and 40 is considered gravely ill. So he was very, very sick. And we were fortunate that he didn't have to wait too long to get a transplant. That's Clarke after the surgery, and he has a tube in for feeding. And that's Clarke, you know, with the tube out. He's doing well. He's gaining weight. We were really fortunate. But of course, there are a lot of people who are waiting on that list, and there are people who die on the list waiting for a liver, for a heart, for a lung, for a kidney, and that is the reality. And every day there are people who take healthy organs with them because either they haven't given thought to it, or in some cases people think, hey, I would like to donate my organs, but they don't communicate that to their family members, so there may be confusion at a very sensitive time. So, you know, I would certainly say, would urge people that if it's something that you have considered, let your family members know. It's very easy to get the little sticker on your license. You can do that online. You don't have to make a special trip to the DMV to get it. There are lots of ways to be an organ donor.
Did you think much about donating, you or your wife, before you were dealt this hand? Yeah,
we both were big proponents of it, but it was academic. It was like, yeah, you know, we should if I can't use it. But when we needed it, you know, you're just sitting there, you're waiting, and you at that point, you really want more people to be organ donors. And we got the call. It was in the middle of the night. And in fact, I was on my way here to work. It was one day I said, hey, I'm out of here. Chris Edwards came in to pick up, because I left during the show to get to the hospital. And we were really fortunate. And in fact, one thing that I did want to hit on is that there was something called living donors. And I was actually being evaluated at the time to give Clarke a piece of my liver so that he could get what he needed.
And that's a huge decision. It really is. It's dangerous for you, but you were ready to do it.
Well, of course. I mean, any parent would. If your child needs something and you have it, even if it places you at risk, you're going to do it without much thought or without much hesitation, and that's what we did. But there was a real scare, and we were so pleased, so happy. And there was a picture with me, my wife Jamila, holding Clarke, and my father-in-law who flew in for the surgery, and we're smiling because we were so relieved.
Absolutely.
That, wow, we actually have a liver.
This story has a happy ending.
And it has a happy ending. And another quick thing, it's a happy ending for us, but someone else lost a baby. But during that time when they lost their baby, they were still caring enough, sharing enough to offer their baby's liver and their baby's organs. That's the only reason why Clarke is here.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful gift.
It's a beautiful gift, and I've never met them, but every time I see Clarke smile, he's only here because that family made that choice. That's why we have our child.
It's a wonderful thing.
Thanks for taking time to share all that, Keenan.
Yeah. Sure. Really. You know, we do want to let you know that if you have any questions about organ donation, because a lot of people do, we are hosting a special webcast today on WXYZ.com. This is from noon until 1 o'clock.
Yeah, be sure to tune in tonight at 5 o'clock to hear more about Keenan's life-changing story.
Thank you for sharing that, Keenan.
Sure. Aaron?
Definitely.